Hey YouTube, B3 here, back with another Bliggity vlog. And today I want to talk about Godzilla 2016. You saw my last video, which was about the Kaiju movie schedule, and Godzilla 2016 was on there, and I promised I'd vlog about it, and I'm getting this vlog up a little later than I thought, but new laptop, no editing software, no disk drive to install my editing software, so yeah, I don't even... Eh. But, I'm recording with a webcam, and I've been having some connectivity issues with my internet, so this stuff's taking a little longer than I thought it would. But Godzilla 2016, wow. And I just want to say on my last vlog about the Kaiju movie schedule, the movies go up to 2018, and I did not mention the new Power Rangers movie that's happening, but that is because it's technically not a Kaiju franchise, and I know I mentioned things that weren't technically Kaiju, like Jurassic World and stuff, but Power Rangers is really Toku, more like Ultraman, but Ultraman's definitely can be included in the Kaiju franchise, but I don't really count Power Rangers in that, so that's why I didn't include that person that mentioned Power Rangers to me. But I did think about it. And I would also like to say I really want Will Smith to make an Ultraman movie because he has the rights. And I'd love to see him as the guy that turns into Ultraman. I know his name, Hayata, but that wouldn't be his name in an American version, I believe. But, Will Smith, if you want to make that movie, now's the time. It really is. Now is the time when you need to make it, if you're going to make it, Smith. If not, sell those rights. Because someone needs to make us an American Ultraman movie. American Gamer movie would be pretty cool too. But yeah. So I got some things I want to say about Godzilla 2016 because Toho, is jumping on this. We gotta have a few things. First off, Suitmation. Gotta have a suit actor in this movie. It'll really help distinguish it from the American franchise, and also all the Japanese Godzilla movies in the past have been, portrayed by suit actors. And these Godzillas, they kind of need to keep that tradition. It's a really great tradition. It's wonderful, and when something's real, it's real. You know what I mean? Having an actual Godzilla on the screen, actually destroying stuff, will always give you a thrill. Always. Always give you a thrill. So we gotta have that Suitmation. Also, 2016, that's plenty of time to make a good movie. But pace yourself, Toho. Pace yourself. You've made some crappy Godzilla movies. I'm willing to admit it. Lots of people are probably gonna be mad at me for saying that, but some Godzilla movies suck. Like, one of my favorite movies is Godzilla vs. Megalon, but I'm willing to admit it sucks. They made that thing in 2 weeks, didn't they? I mean, geez. It's a childhood gym of mine, but it sucks. I'm willing to admit it. So they can pace this. They said 2016, so it could be any time in 2016. Even if it got like postponed to 2017, I wouldn't even be upset because I'd be like, hey, they're pacing themselves, working as hard as they can. Totally fine with that. Just fine. We've had postponed kaiju movies before, and it worked out great for us. So that's just fine. Now, next thing, this should definitely be a versus movie. If it's not going to do as well. The audience can't watch Godzilla fight two monsters in his, new franchise rebooting movie. You can't watch him fight two monsters and then have another Godzilla series going on in the first film 2 years later, he doesn't fight any monsters. And I think Toho's already figured that out because they didn't do that for the Millennium series. They had a Godzilla and No Other Monsters movie to start Showa, obviously, and start the Heisei series. They had Godzilla by himself once again. So they didn't do that for the Millennium series. They wised up and they realized no one wants to see that same movie over and over and over and over again, which is really weird because, Godzilla vs. Mothra: The Battle for Earth exists. But, hey, I'm not dissing that movie. I love that movie. I love Batra. Speaking of Batra, I think a lesser Godzilla villain that already exists, like Batra or Biollante or something, should be the villain for this Japanese movie. The villain absolutely 100% cannot be King Ghidorah, Mothra, or Rodan. They cannot be the monsters that Godzilla fights. They can't be because 2 years after that we're going to have the American Godzilla movie with all three of them in it. Cannot have it. A great way to start a reboot. Do a lesser known monster or an original one. I'm always looking for a new Godzilla to put on that shelf, some kind of new creature to go back there. I'm fine with an original monster. I'm fine with a total visual redesign of an older one. Just no Mothra, no King Ghidorah, and no Rodan. Please, please. Uh, they've only announced one movie, but there's gonna be more. There are always more. That's just how it works. There's always more Godzilla. So we can expect more. I don't know how many more, but we can expect them. And a Japanese movie between the American movies is fine. But another thing I want to address, these kind of in between Japanese films, they're great. They're going to be great for the franchise because if it's taken us 4 years between these Godzilla films, it might not take 4 years between Godzilla 2 and Godzilla 3, but if it does, it'll be good to have another Toho one there if that happens as well. But could this movie possibly hurt the American franchise? I mean, think about it. If this is a good movie, and with the success of Godzilla before, maybe it'll make it to American theaters. That'd be cool. If it's a good movie, it could help, you know, keep people's spirits up. It could help keep them on the kaiju bandwagon. I mean, Pacific Rim 2 is going to do that also, obviously. But having this new Japanese Godzilla film could really help with that also. If it's good, if it's bad, people might not be as excited about the next American one. And I know there'll be different Godzilla continuities, completely different countries, but gotta admit, there's kind of a cultural barrier. Uh, what works for a Japanese audience might not work for an American audience. You know, it might not. That's why King Kong versus Godzilla was a much better movie to the people in the 60s in Japan because it was a satire on 60s Japanese business and stuff. We don't get that. We don't understand that as much. So it's not really as good of a movie to us as it was to them, especially back then. But, and back up for the butts. If this is a good movie, it can keep people on this bandwagon, as I said, and it could keep them there. But we're gonna have to really look at this thing before we bring it to American theaters. Let it do its thing in Japanese theaters first, maybe a few other theaters, and then come to us, which is what films always do internationally. They play somewhere once, and let me just here, and then the rest of the world gets them. But I just really be careful about this movie. Really be careful about how you present this movie to the American public. I mean, we're obviously going to get a DVD and probably a Blu-ray because we get them all like that now. But should it be shown in theaters? Maybe. We'll have to see. We'll just have to wait and see if that's the best thing. We'll have to wait and see if that's the best thing to do. So yeah, Suitmation. Consider the international audience. Consider that. Consider how you're gonna present this to them. New monster, or really just any monster that's not being used in the Americans. I'd say wait on Mechagodzilla though. Normally it's like the wait on Mechagodzilla. We should definitely have one of those in these movies though, but not like Mechagodzilla in one and then Mechagodzilla in the other though. That's not gonna work out. That's not gonna work out. But it's just such a great time for a kaiju fan to be alive. It's so wonderful. So yeah, Godzilla 2016. Tell me how you think they should handle the film in the comments below. I will be reading them. I read as many comments as I possibly can, and I reply to many of them also. So yeah, just tell me what you think. You can check out the kaiju schedule video. It's pretty cool. Got a lot of good info on there. I even talked about the game and an animated series and stuff that are coming out. Pacific Rim, and the new Godzilla game. That's pretty cool. But that's it, you guys. Rate, comment, subscribe. Thank you all so much for your support, and I will be back as soon as I can be. So I'll see you all later.